How do I remove this bar?
Remove what? Oh, this.
Put it on slideshow.
Yeah, press F5.
F5?
You don't want to.
Just let me just
move it to the bottom. Or just start the side.
Alright, thank you.
You should just put the top. It normally disappear when I should be at the bottom.
Alright. Okay, so what is balance? Balance can be defined. Okay, Karima, sorry. I want this to go away.
This?
No. Oh, it's gone. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, make it smaller.
Okay.
Like this.
Okay, so what is balance? Balance can be defined as a situation, or defined as a situation in which all elements are equal or in the correct or desired proportions. It can also be a means of judging or deciding, which is counterbalancing weight, force, or influence. To go more in depth or in more detail, it can be considering every aspect of your life, relationships, which can include spouse, platonic relationships, romantic, or such, work, home, leisure, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health. Essentially, balance can mean making time for the things that we deem important or for the things that we like to do. Now, there are some misconceptions about balance. What are they? One is that persons might be of the impression that balance means doing it all or making everything equal in every aspect of your life. And this is not the case, or won't always be the case. If this were the case, I am certain that we would never do anything with any real commitment or zeal or intention. Simply put, you cannot do it all. And if you think you can, you might not be able to do it all well. Another one is that people think that balance means a 50-50 split. Now, balance does not always mean a 50-50 split, or even a 25-25 split. And that's okay. It can mean a 60-40 split, or a 40-30-30 split, or whatever, and that too is okay. Now, I think what is important is looking at that scale and seeing that it is balanced for what your current wants and what your current needs are. And that is something we each have to figure out for ourselves. Now, finding that balance, some people think that finding that balance always means more fun, which isn't also necessarily the case. Sometimes it means having just the right amount of time to put into the things that we consider to be important, both in our home life, which can include church, family, relationships, our health, and our work life. Now, it can mean essentially delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is basically putting off having fun until you complete the things that you need to complete. And it's something that was ingrained in me growing up. I remember at one point I used to love to draw, I think when I was doing GSAT, and I should have been studying for my exams, and I just kept drawing. I had a drawing book and I was drawing, and I remember my father had to come and take the book away, and even after he took it away, I ended up finding another book to draw in. But essentially over time, I learned the process of delaying certain things until certain other things, important things, are completed. Even now, sometimes at the end of the day, I realize I have to put certain things like watching a show or a movie to the end of the day when I've completed. So for me, technically, that would be kind of like a reward. I'll now hand over to Kari. This is his segment. Or he should speak on this segment, yes. Brother Kari?
Yeah, I'm here. So, okay. So balance, right? When we think of balance, right? What would balance in our everyday life, or what we normally would balance generally would be work, family, school, and God, right? So when we think of balance, the first word or the first phrase that actually come to mind is equally shared. It's not on the screen. I see now. Hello. Yes, so it's equally shared. Uh, equally sharing. Many persons think of equally sharing, but as my co-presenter previously said, this isn't always the case, and because this isn't always the case. So let's consider this question right here. With all the ingredients, how can the perfect lemonade be made? Uh, to everybody, a perfect lemonade is different. Each of us have different taste buds, and you, like the example, Yanni might like the lemonade with a little tooth of sugar and probably about 10 limes, and Safina might like the lemonade with probably a jug of sugar and 1 lime. So each of us have different taste buds. Yeah, moving on. Next slide. This is Swann. Thank you. So the benefits of finding the balance. Okay, all right. Yeah, the benefits of finding the balance. 3 main categories or benefits that we came up with is mental health and well-being, efficiency and production, and me time. So I'm gonna expound on these. A second. So so for mental health, when how somebody might ask how finding the balance actually helps you mentally and in your well-being generally. But what it actually does is it allows you to feel less stressed and flustered. It so by feeling less stressed and flustered, your mind will have fewer conflicts because you have a balanced life. You know exactly, you share the proportion, not evenly, but to the right weight that they're supposed to be. So you don't have to worry or stress over, oh my gosh, I'm not fulfilling this part of my life or doing this properly or whatever it might be. So you will feel less flustered as well. Fewer conflicts inside the health, as I said before. Make life make life seems much easier. So you have a balanced life, you just go through life smooth and nice because it's balanced. When something is balanced, it have no hiccups and so forth. Improve mood. This helps in keeping sound mind. Uh, it kind of tying back to the mental health. So your mood. Give me a second. Yeah. So it helps with keeping a sound mind. It ties back to the mental health. It helps to fight against negative thoughts like depression and so forth. When you have a balanced life, your mind is less stressed. You have less time to think of. So, well, you have more time to think, but you're more happy. So you don't have to think about negative stuff and negative thoughts about yourself and so forth. It improves mood and keeps you active. So having a balanced life, your natural will keep yourself active because you have more time and so forth. Efficiency and productivity. That's the next category. Uh, your schedule and your pre-plan when you have a balanced life. So, and while you schedule and you pre-plan, your life become more efficient. You're more on time. You get more work done because you know exactly what you're gonna do how you're gonna do it, and so forth. Some might see someone have a paper write down with exactly what they are doing, but that is their way of having a balanced life. So you might have your own, what I should say, your own way of doing it and way of structuring your life. But just by writing down every little detail can help you to have a balanced life. So, and you respect time a lot. The me time, you enjoy yourself while doing anything, work or play, because yeah, so you make some me time and you get to enjoy yourself. You have more time for yourself, more social life, ability to not be routine with moments of spontaneous adventures and activities. So overall, you'd be happy and yeah, it's just no stress at all. Next slide, please. Oh, yeah. So back to that, you.
So tips for having a balanced life. Now, one of these tips is determining or identifying our priorities. Now, what does priority mean? Priorities can refer to things that are regarded as more important than other things. Using Jesus as a prime example in Mark 1:35 to 38, in which he isolated himself to pray, and his disciples found him and told him that everyone was looking for him. And he said, let's go into the towns that I may preach there also, because this is what I come here to do. So in those verses, realize that Jesus identified what he had to do and what his priority was, which is to preach. So what are your priorities? Now, this may vary for many persons, but as children of God, one of our main priorities is maintaining a close relationship with Christ, or prioritizing Christ and others, which can be family, work, health. Prioritizing God means we should remain in constant communication and relationship with God. Now, one thing a brethren and friend taught me is like uttering a word of prayer to God every hour. We might not be able to pray, but we can also talk to him or say something to him. And I should say in these times, I am thankful for Mass, because enough time me there praying to God or just talking, and I'm sure people would look at me and wonder if I'm crazy. There are also some Psalms that I know out of my head, and I can utter them during the day, especially if things get hectic. And of course, it does not end here. We also need to find the time to get into the Word daily and meditating upon him daily. Now, speaking from experience, once upon a time, I used to think that I couldn't find the time, even especially when I come home from work, for God. Because I come home and I'm too tired, or I come home too late and whatever. But at some point, some months ago or so, yeah, it was revealed to me to go on some fasting. And in doing that, I had to come home each day and put in the time, or spend the time with him, sometimes even 2 hours. So I realized that I can actually make the time, and being tired sometimes really isn't a reason as to not to do certain things, because I decided to make that a priority. Some people even wake up ahead of time. I don't do that, but what I do is I would pray when I get up and probably read a passage. And even when I go into the bathroom, I'd carry the phone with worship, gospel music, and playing it, because it can really set the tone for the day. Using also my father as an example. For as long as I've known him, he gets up like an hour before he needs to get things done, and he would spend the time in devotion and prayer and such. Now, for family, in prioritizing family, we tend to the needs of our family, which would help us to build an intimate relationship with them, whether it's through discussions, through socializing, or developing even spiritual bonds. With married couples, you'd also have to include intimacy time, because the Bible also tells us that the husband should love the wife as Christ loved the church, and wife should also respect the husband. And this can be put into place when they place each other as a priority. God is also big on families, so we have to ensure that we are tending to the needs of same. Now, where does work and school come in, and should those be a priority? Of course. Why? Because it is a part of our purpose. When God placed Adam in the garden, he put him there to work and to tend after the animals and such. I think there's a passage in Colossians which also says, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. So in doing work or in doing the work that we have to do, we're in turn serving the Lord. Same is for school. Some people have homework or schoolwork or whatever, and for the sake of fun, they neglect it. And for the sake of prioritizing other things, they also neglect it, which can tend to be like something slothful. And, you know, that's something as children of God we have to curb. Because, yeah, slothful or being slothful isn't beneficial to us as children of God. And for school, I remember while in university, I remember making like a to-do list almost every week. And sometimes I'd take daily. I used it to track my progress, and ticking off things off that list was one of my motivations to continue. So you can practice doing this, not just for school though, but for things in general. Now, another tip is being intentional. That's now being clear about what you need to do or what you want to do or what you need to do to achieve something. Doing this can increase your focus. And when it comes on to tackling certain things, this can mean just ensuring that your priorities are getting the attention they need. So if you need to get up a little early, as I said before, to do certain things and sleep a little bit later, then so be it. Being intentional also means that you have to plan certain things. So before I spoke about prioritizing, and there's a matrix that we can use to help. I learned about this matrix under different contexts when I was doing project management in school, but we can apply it here. It's called like a time management matrix or a priority matrix, which you can use to tackle things in our daily lives. Now, in the first quadrant, in the upper quadrant, the one that's called Q1, are things that we need to manage or things that we need to do now. And in the not urgent and important quadrant are things we need to focus on, but not necessarily tend to know. So generally for the top two quadrants, we should spend most of our time there. Now, an example for quadrant one could be like some projects that we need to do, or some crises we need to attend to, or some deadlines we have to complete. And quadrant two could be like praying, reading the Bible, or generally just spending time with God, and can include some recreational activities. Now for quadrant three, that's the urgent and not important. Things like meeting, etc. And for quadrant four, not urgent and not important, can include trivial things like wasting time, scrolling through social media. So the bottom two quadrants are basically things that we should do in our spare time. Yeah. Now, another step is having downtime. Downtime can refer to napping, sleeping, resting, and for us that would include definitely the Sabbath. And having downtime can also include recreational activities. So basically it's time that you spend away from the work or away from the hustle and bustle of life, time you can use to recharge. So for example, me for most evenings, when I finish what I need to do, I'd spend like an hour or so watching like a show or my favorite YouTube channel or something. But in all of this, you have to really know your limits, else it can have some repercussions. Now, the final step is feeding your health, which can be physical, mental, or spiritual. Spiritual was I touched before, but we have to feed our health. If we are not okay in any of the alleys, so that's physically, mentally, or spiritually, we can fall off in other aspects of our lives, and we can become severely unbalanced. Now, our body is a temple, so we have to take care of it. Personally, I try to exercise at least 30 minutes per day, and I manage to do it most days. So in turn, caring for yourself, it's basically an act of worship. And usually as hard as we push, if we push as hard, we sometimes won't operate as well if we aren't getting enough food, if we aren't getting enough exercise, or if we aren't getting enough sleep each night. And the thing about this too is that when we start our day right, I find out for myself, inviting God into our day, it results in some of the best days. Sometimes even when I include exercise, sometimes in the morning I climb the hill nearby and I feel pumped to tackle the day. And also in the evening when I come home and I exercise, I also realize I have more energy to finish up anything that there is that I need to do. And I also realize that for some days when I don't include as much God or as much exercise or whatever, are some of the days just very cross and miserable. Another thing we should note is that sometimes we can get caught up in some things so that we don't have room for other things. And that's not necessarily a good thing. So at this time, we're gonna have like an interview session with someone who is experienced. This is an introduction to the person. So the person I'm inviting on the platform, they grew up in the parish of St. Elizabeth on a district called White Hill. Is a real country girl in her days, climbed trees and all, went to St. Elizabeth Technical High School, then furthered her education at the University of Technology, where she became a nurse. She has been working in the field for over 30 years, taking care of people's health from then till now. She's also a frontline worker in the crisis. She's a mother of 3, been married for 30 years, and she's also a pastor's wife. So let me welcome none other than Sister Joyce Howell, otherwise called Auntie Joyce.
Athena, I'm supposed to do it, or are you?
Oh yes, this interview session will be conducted by Carrie Hoare.
And
hold on, Carrie. Let me say thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I just to insert something that prior to my UTech years, I studied at the Kingston School of Nursing. I did public health nursing at UTech. All right.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, all right, so good day, Sister Howell. I want to welcome you to our seminar/presentation on finding the balance. So we'll be probing and getting some valuable tips and understanding on how someone that actually managed to establish themselves in the world and how they actually find the balance. So yeah. All right. Sorry, give me a second. Oh yeah. So how was life growing up in St. Elizabeth? Did you born with a gold spoon in your mouth?
Certainly not. I am from, let me say good night or good evening to everyone, brethren, friends, and all on the platform. Good evening also to host and co-host. You asked the question, Carrie, if I was born with a gold spoon in my mouth. I would certainly, knowing what a gold spoon is, I would say no. Humble beginning. Looking back at it, you're looking at poverty, naming them out. Pit toilet, I knew what that was. Getting water from a tank, put the bucket or whatever in there, down in there with a rope, and draw the water up when it's almost down to the bottom. All of those things, right? But as I say, humble beginnings from there. But when you grow up in a situation where in which my mother, she lost her mother when she was 1 year and 6 months. So my grandfather and granduncle grew her up, 1 girl, 2 boys. And I think she did very well. So my years too was I was raised by my grandfather. And within the family, there were certain priorities, and education was one, and I learned a lot of things during those years that made me grounded. So no goals.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So let's fast forward to your university days there. As you said, where you actually did nursing was at repeat the school for me, please.
Kingston School of Nursing.
Kingston School of Nursing. Yeah.
Right.
So how did they end up actually into nursing? And was it a childhood dream?
I remember as far back, it was not exactly what I wanted to be, but looking back at it, is usually things that probably as a little, probably in grade 2, I remember writing a composition of wanting to be a nurse, you know. However, in high school years, being exposed to other things, it changed over time. Wanted to do psychology and also or pharmacy. I think when I applied to UTech, to the pharmacy, results were not out or something to that effect. So there was a waiting period, and a friend of mine or classmate said, she's going into nursing, come now. And like everything else, I like company, you know. I'm alone in a lot of things. However, the best thing to get me or to do things is when I have company. And I said, well, let me apply. And I applied. However, I wasn't one of those persons who was called. It was a big batch, but I think I started school 1 or 2 weeks after everybody else, about 4 of us. And I was determined at that time to say, well, probably, yes, nursing chose me because they would have started before. And if it was not so, if God didn't want it to be so, I wouldn't have been there. So I really gave it my best.
Okay. Looking back at your career choice now, you have any regrets?
No regrets.
No problem.
No regrets, but it's just where I would have loved to do nursing elsewhere too.
Okay. Point noted. At which point in your life did you meet your husband? Won't
Wow.
ask how, but yeah, at which point?
Where is he? Probably you could help me remember. I was a nurse then. I was a professional then. Probably 1 year, 1 or 2 years after graduating. It's at that point in my life. So I was young, free, single, disengaged, going about my own business. Right. So that's and no. One of the things, so I was going to migrate. And it's because I met him why I didn't migrate. How could I forget that one? Right.
All right, so fast forwarding a little bit more. So after meeting a husband and actually starting your family, how did you manage? No, let's not use there as it. How did you manage to, or was it difficult to balance balance fulfilling your wife duties and work?
I would say, all right, life taught me many things. From early life, I learned to be responsible and organized. So though I was still learning and a lot of experiences, because one of the things I grew up and most of my friends are persons who I associated with were persons older than me, persons who could be my grandmother, persons who could be my mother. So a lot of those experiences are things I would have learned. So it was basically, and then I had help too, that helped me to transition, and having someone who is marrying somebody, yes, who would have been, I would say, mature or help me along, because balancing is that it's like the stage of your life that you are. Somebody, when you're single, it might be a different thing. When you are married, it takes on a different form. So I was able to. Nursing is always something. Nursing is a profession that takes a lot of your time. During that time, I used to be working on shift. So you have 7 to 10, 10 to 7. So I tried to choose the shift that suit my family life. It was rough,
Okay,
yes, but I learned.
okay. So moving a little bit further now, one child come into play, one of the three, and you can maybe put it to two child, or no, one child. Was there a difference, or was it difficult to being a new mom and a new mom to actually balance everything at the same time?
Ooh. Okay, I didn't all start. What happened is that my mother came into play then. Grandparents came into play. I had to do that because I was living in the West then. So Aunt Khalid would have been in St. Elizabeth. I was in the West, Westmoreland to be exact, Savlamar. So I would travel. I don't even remember how often I would do it, but I would travel back and forth to work. So I had the help. And as had to be disciplined where that is concerned, and choose according to what the work offered. Choosing that you had a choice of working night duty so that you have the day and so forth. So that was having help was one of the
Okay,
things
yeah,
that
yeah.
helped me along.
Important point. So having health is an
Yeah,
important
yes,
thing
very. Have support.
to get in a balance. Yeah,
At
support.
every stage of your life, there support is having us have a network, having support is very good.
Oh, so I guess it would be a blanket thing for actually getting three children. You need support. Anything different when the third child actually come into play? Anything to add on how we actually balanced it along with church life?
Moving, well, that time I wasn't I wasn't in church then. First and second, how I did it, because both of us were employed at different stages. How I would do, I relied on I went from helper, whether somebody that come in the day, to full right, when I had two, somebody would come in the day and the children went to the nursery. I was living in Kingston then. My sister operated a nursery or a daycare until I moved to another daycare. And Smurf, well, you should know, Kari, that Smurf was like home, right? So we had that sort of help then. For when it was three, right, 3 children, I had living helper, somebody who was excellent. And probably about two, right? 2 persons, they were excellent. And since then, since the last person left, I've never had a living helper. But would have helped sometimes. And then you realize at certain parts of your life, yes, you want to do things on your own. And as you say, in terms of balancing, not all things you got right then, but then you try, you change, you make the adjustment as you go along. I made adjustment in my career too, career path, where I went into public health, because that would give me working Monday to Friday, and only in the days. So as you go along, I would have made adjustments where the family is concerned. As for me,
Okay.
family is very important. I would really stay home and look after family, but we are, as it is, I would say I have to work otherwise.
Okay. So the next question is, well, we know that the boys are big men now,
Huh.
but yeah, yes, they are big men right now. So, but you're in a management position at work. So you have to oversee people and so forth. So how difficult is it in these times to do your work efficiently, contribute to the household, and also make time and room for your Christian walk?
Okay, well, I guess this is the most difficult part of of my life, honestly. Where work is concerned, it's a lot, because resources are not the lack of resources are inadequate resources makes it very challenging. However, you would overcome these or work around these challenges. But where work is concerned, one of the things is that and where God is concerned, right? My spiritual, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being, social well-being is very important to me. And as you are talking about balance, but it means different things for different people. So I had to, in order to strike that balance, I had to know, what it means for me. So as I say, that part of things, my health, it does come first. There are a lot of times, yes, when I throw myself into work, because I know, yes, I want to get this done, because I'm going to reward myself with whether a weekend or something like that. However, I know where to draw the line, when to say no, and so forth, and then when to really drive at things. So I remember the days, well, pandemic now, but church used to be, you have prayer meeting, Bible study, Sabbath service, Sunday night service. I couldn't, it's not all the time that I them all, but it was very important for me to be there, right? And it does help me, because at the end of the day, God must get all, all that there is. So I recognize that, and after giving my life to the Lord, I know I have to have time for Him. So what I would do, I would set myself goals, right? So if it is fasting, I know that, yes, a man can go to all of the fasting services, but I'm going to be here for this one or that one or so forth. And, like that. So give myself things that I can achieve. I don't let it overwhelm me, because if I let it overwhelm me, I may not achieve any where that is concerned. And making them work, I'm one of the persons who would get up early and go to work very early, and my work can finish before some people even start, right? So it's just about organizing, knowing myself and what would work for me. I write down things. I started that early in life. I write them down. So my day, I will have a to-do list. I may not accomplish all, however, and my time must be in that to-do list, right? So those are some of the things that help.
Okay, thank you. Final question in this interview. Do you get to have some me time and have fun away from work and stress of life?
Well, not as I would want, no. Well, because I'm at a stage in my life now where I have adults. I don't have children anymore, so I can spend that time on myself.
1 second, you got a little bit low. Check the mic if it's up.
Are you hearing me?
Still low. I'm not sure what happened. Give me a second.
Hearing me better?
No, it's still low.
Here now.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. The mic went. Brother Kari, could you repeat the question?
Okay, so let me check. Yeah, so the question is, do you get to have some me time and have fun away from work and stress of life?
Well, you know, I am a fun-loving person. So I will, because of the pandemic now, I would spend probably more time at work, but I do other things that to compensate for things like travel, or even going, you know, but probably whether going to some other recreational stuff. So I compensate by doing my gardening or crochet. And my me time would also, I ensure that I get my sleep. Whether I'm going to sleep early, whether I'm coming home or sleep early, or if I sleep early, I would get up and then, you know, go back to sleep. My me time might just be sitting down or lying down and looking in the ceiling. Don't want nobody to disturb me, right? And other things, devotion and so is a must. And my me time might be just doing some exercise in my room. I do not get to walk the miles that I would normally walk for exercise right now, but I try my best to fit something in alternative. So my me time, you know, my me time might just be taking a long ride, take a longer route to travel to work and so forth. That sort of a thing. So I do try.
Okay. The final, well, I said that was the final question, but what advice would you give? Like, what's the one single advice would you give to the youth on how to balance life?
One single advice? Wow. That's hard. It's gonna be something more than one. Looking at it, as I say, know what works for you as an individual and what balancing life, what balancing is all about. Set yourself goals, achievable, and if you have to write them down, write them down. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because in the presentation I seen I talk about balance. It not, there are some misconceptions about balancing life, and we don't have to think that we can do it all. One of the things that I do too is I try not to pack my like overcrowd my life, and if I let you in, I let you in, and that's that sort of a thing. I keep where boundaries are concerned. I would, when I leave work, I would leave work, and it's for me because I am on caller, so it's for me. I know that I must take call, and it's for me to say, well, feel free. Feel free to call me anytime or so forth, or you can contact me this way. So we just have to know how to do it, set the boundaries, and as I said before, know what works for you, and develop that routine. Be committed to whatever you set.
Okay, thank you for the valuable information that you just imparted onto us. Stay tuned. We'll continue through the rest of the presentation, and then
You're welcome.
yeah, mute your mic. Yeah, mute your mic, please. Yeah, so we'll continue through for the rest of the presentation, and then maybe someone else might have some additional questions to ask. Hasina, back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sister Joyce, for sharing. Just to go over some of the points that she said. She said that having a support and maintaining her health was important in helping her to manage things. So she relied on people around her. She also had to adjust things to make it fit or to achieve balance over time. She considered family very important, which is echoing on something that I said previously. Setting goals, deciding what to do and what to give up. She gave herself things that she can achieve so it doesn't overwhelm her. Write things down, having a to-do list, which is also something I covered. We might not be able to accomplish it all, but time for herself, she said, should be in that list. She also said it might not be as much time as you want to have for yourself, but she always tries to squeeze in some me time. Devotion, she also said, is a must. And some tips are knowing what works for you, setting goals for yourself which are achievable, writing things down, asking for help, setting boundaries, and developing a routine and being committed to that routine. Okay, so now the bottom line is you don't always need to get everything done. You only need to get the right things done and leave the rest to God, because we are only humans and sometimes we can do so much and no more. So the steps of having or achieving a healthier, balanced life is just a guide. It can change over time, especially when different things get added into the mix, like having a baby. We should also understand that we cannot do this on our own. We need the Holy Spirit's help, or we need Him to guide, the Holy Spirit to guide us, the Lord to guide us, and it will give us the wisdom and strength that we need. Now, here's a corny joke that someone, which wasn't me, came up with. Is balance missing from your life? If you have any information, please contact Matthew 6 verse. Why is the screen? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, do it over again.
Okay, yes, here's a corny joke, which someone came up with, which was not me. Is balance missing from your life? If you have any if you don't have any information, or if you have any information, or if you don't have any information as to where it might be, please contact Matthew 6, verse 33, which is seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So seeking him and putting him first will help to make other things fall in place, and your reward will be well-being, better relationships, and ease of mind. Here ends the presentation. I don't know if anyone has any questions. If you do, you can share.
No, there is no questions because the presentation covered it all. Everyone is sufficed and so forth.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amen. What? Any questions?
Not a question, but a comment. Just this morning, I was saying, God, please, we need help. And this is the direct answer to my prayer, and I'm giving God thanks. And I will be making a more detailed to-do list. Usually my to-do list gets misplaced and all of them things. So I will write my to-do list in a book. So it's harder to misplace, and I'll stick to it and do things that are achievable. But thank you so very much. Thank you both. Thank you, Auntie Joyce. Thank you. And I didn't know you like pina colada, Sister J.
I like that too.
Oh my God. May I, Sister Hasina?
Yes, definitely you may.
Okay, Sister Barrett was saying writing down. Yes, I usually use the papers. The papers do still work for me, but what I do for the phone, I just have a little notebook on the phone to write them, to write it down. Okay, okay. Yes, I will have to learn more about my phone. Yes.
Also, is there anyone that would like to share their experience on trying to balance life?
Jody, and hand this up.
A question. Oh, do it by hand? All right, cool.
Okay, go ahead, Jody.
Good evening, everyone. That was an excellent presentation. Big up to Carrie and Athena. Sister Howell, I've always said it to myself, and I think I said it to Richard. I always wonder how Sister Howell managed, because I was thinking to myself that, all right, she was a nurse when her children were younger, and I think you would have worked in the hospital setting where, you might not necessarily have any power over your scheduling and stuff. So I'm really glad as the whole, well, I agree with that you actually was the person who was being interviewed, that could garner some information from that. So I'm just really giving my kudos to you as well as the presenters for our job well.
Just to put this one in, Madam Host. In terms of, as I said, different stages in life teach you very different things. I learned resilience from early, and never let any experience, any life experience, keep you down. It happens for a reason. And as I say, in terms of persons who I associated with, they were a long time older persons than myself. And learning from them too, did a lot for me. And in nursing, I had it pretty rough, believe you me. There are times, yes, when like night duty and the children have to be on the road and so forth. They're always there with pastor. if he's working a conference, they would be there with him because they can't come to my workplace. So we had some pretty rough times too. But you, as I say, you learn as you go along. And the organizing myself, when I realized, that I had to, the different shifts and so forth, I work around them. And I realized now, okay, things are changing. It means that when we got saved, well, it wasn't long after he got saved that I got saved. And the direction that the Lord was leading him, I say, okay, I need to change. Things need to change things around here and so forth. And one of the push to, I saw the direction where God was leading him. And I know that there was never a time when he can work full time and be in the ministry full time. So I had to make some switch in career, in my career path. And that sort of, as you go along, you make adjustments, and so forth. No, the boys, they are grown men. I don't have, where that is concerned. So we can go through as it is, whether it is one child. As I say, one might be enough for persons. Some persons, two might be enough. And if persons plan for three, they will just have to find ways to go around it. I remember when I was on morning shift, 15 suit of khaki, well, it was 3, right? How much khaki on the line plus whatever else. And that was the days washing hand and have to be at work before dinner cook, like on a Sunday, dinner cook, and be gone to work for 7 to 3 shift, So, I mean, we can and we will, as we go along, we learn how to adjust our lives. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brother Richard. You have a question or your hand is up?
Yeah, all right, good night, everyone. I think the
Bye.
presentation was excellent. Kudos to Asina and Kari. All right. Andrew said something very crucial. She said having a routine. I recognize that I just thinking about it, I have a very regimental routine at work. But when you come on to my personal life, I don't necessarily have a routine. So, Mr. Howell, how does one really, after say, boy, you're going to do this, that, and you get thrown off for it. I hear you talk about a list, but you stick to a routine, even at home.
As I said, there are times when you would get thrown off, yes, but achievable as they, the achievable, there must be something on it. Because for work, what I do, I make something. If it is work day, if it's a day for work, I know what for the day. So I tick them off as they are across the motor or whatever as I do. And for myself, there is something for myself there. And you may not achieve all, but it might go appear on the next day, that sort of a thing. And it does help though. It does help.
All right.
Yeah, because I still, Brother Richard, in my life, I still have things that I want to do, when the time comes, it will happen. Because we know not, never give up. I remember, see, this other things too. I had to put some things on hold. And in starting a family, the stage of your life that you're at, sometimes you can do it you can start early. One of the things that benefited me, yes, I started early. And in between that, I was able to study, and so, that's that sort of a thing. So for different persons, some may have the children early and then go on, in a different, where career is concerned. So it's what works, what works for you. And I find the time that I never used to like travel, recreational. So some of those things we had to put on hold because money had to go in that direction and so forth, and time and all. Now I can enjoy whatever I want to enjoy.
Okay, thanks. It's just that sometimes I find a scampering for time. And I see it more
Oh,
often than not.
yeah.
So I guess I really need to apply a certain routine, develop one. All right, thank you.
Sister
Of nursing wasn't your preferred choice. So what would have been your preferred choice?
Sister Yanni, as I said, it wasn't nursing. I had applied to UTech for pharmacy. Heard me? Oh no. Heard me, heard, are you hearing me?
Yes, I heard you, but it sounded like you had said that Kingston School of Nursing wasn't your preferred choice. But I heard the thing about pharmacy.
Oh, no, I may have mentioned that I would have loved to do nursing elsewhere.
Right. Where is the other place that you would have wanted to do nursing?
US or Canada, first world, or any one of the first world countries.
Okay,
right?
so why would you prefer there as opposed to here? What's the benefit of doing it over there that you don't have out here? Why you would prefer to do it there?
Resources, man. Jamaica tough, honestly. It builds that resilience. Yes, that's why Jamaican nurses are so good and in demand. But just for the experience, and yes, more money too.
That's it, Sister Yanni?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Sister San. Sister Aikman, your hand is up.
Just a second, please. Okay, good night, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Sister Hasina, just wanted you to remind me of what you said about quadrants 1 and 2, please.
Okay, let me go back to it.
Thank you.
If I may jump in, can you explain in quadrant 3 what could be urgent but not important? Something like that, please.
Yeah, that's what you had said, meetings.
Yes. I'm looking for to see if I see any more examples that could go into. Also, like meetings, like calls, emails, anything interrupting. It says also resolving other people's issues. Things that are like distractions or interruptions. Yeah, so as it said, phone calls, emails, stuff like that, or meetings. And quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important, which is wasting time. Anything that can waste your time, or I guess distract you from what you need to do, and those are things you would limit. So like scrolling through social media, or as I said, wasting time, which are things that we can do in our spare time. Is that understood?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Why I asked was because I was wondering why like prayer life and or interaction with God wasn't that urgent and important, but I didn't hear the explanation under it. So like things that come up.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Okay. So I guess that's it.
No, may I ask Brother Kari a question?
Okay, go right ahead.
I know you're an early riser, Kari. Yes, he's up before the crack of dawn. Is it that you are that busy, or it's just a habit that you have developed over time? Not being rude, just wondering if you have a program that you work with, or you just habitual.
Oh, so in the presentation, I had thought about pre-plans and so forth. It's mainly because of pre-plans, and if I don't plan my day, then things will come up that I didn't plan for, and for some reason my brain don't work like that. Like it's not spontaneous.
Okay. Oh, we lost him.